Even Kristi Noem's own agency is now saying she lied. Let me repeat that. The Secretary of Homeland Security is being contradicted, publicly by IC itself. This is not a partisan spat. This is not spin. This is the federal government admitting that a story used to justify force, fear, and escalation was false. And the danger here isn't just what happened, it's how quickly a lie was weaponized, amplified, and defended at the highest levels of power. Because when the truth finally emerges only after lawyers intervene, judges step in, and video surfaces, we are no longer talking about a mistake. We are talking about a system that reflexively lies first and checks facts later. If ever. Here's the story the public was sold. Federal agents claimed they were ambushed. 3 migrants, we were told, lured IC officers into a chase, attacked them with shovels and broom handles, and nearly murdered an agent during a violent struggle. The language was absolute: attempted murder, terrorist violence, officers fighting for their lives. Cable news ran with it, especially Fox News, branding the suspects as monsters and framing the incident as proof that immigration enforcement needed to be harsher, faster, and more militarized. The narrative justified calls for surge operations and broader crackdowns. It was presented as settled fact, and Kristi Noem went on television and ratified it. No hedging. No caveats. No. We're still gathering facts. She endorsed the story in full. Then the timeline started to crumble. The incident happened on January 14th. The public statements, confident, inflammatory, definitive, came January 15th. That matters. Because even a minimal level of due diligence would have required reviewing video, interviewing witnesses, and confirming sworn accounts before going on air. None of that happened. Or worse, it happened and was ignored. What should have been a pause became a megaphone. Statements were made before facts were verified, and those statements hardened into talking points that spread across the media ecosystem. By the time questions emerged, the damage was already done. Then came the evidence. A joint review by IC and the Department of Justice examined video footage and testimony. The conclusion was devastating. 2 officers appeared to have provided untruthful sworn statements. The acting head of IC confirmed it. The officers were placed on administrative leave. The U.S. Attorney's Office opened an investigation for lying under oath, a serious federal offense with real criminal consequences. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't confusion in the fog of chaos. The official admissions directly contradicted the original claims. The attack narrative collapsed. What remained was a lie that had already traveled nationwide, justified force, and vilified people who hadn't done what they were accused of doing. And then came the cover-up. When migrants charged in the case said the story was false, the response wasn't to reassess. It was to deport the witnesses fast. Remove the people who could contradict the narrative and make the case disappear. Only aggressive lawyering stopped it. A federal judge issued an injunction blocking the deportation of material witnesses, recognizing the obvious: you cannot deport the very people whose testimony is central to determining the truth. Notice the pattern. The story only changed after legal resistance. Only after a judge intervened. Only after video evidence surfaced. That's not accountability. That's institutional self-protection failing under pressure. Instead of accountability, we got spin. On television, blame was redirected toward political enemies, governors, mayors, protesters. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was dragged into it, accused of fostering lawlessness. The facts didn't matter. The narrative did. This is classic authoritarian messaging: create a threat, exaggerate it, personalize the blame, and use fear to justify power. As George Orwell and Hannah Arendt warned, truth becomes irrelevant when control of the story is the goal. Reality is whatever authority says it is, until evidence makes that impossible. This isn't an isolated incident. It's a playbook. Step 1, a violent encounter. Step 2, immediate accusations against civilians. Step 3, inflammatory language, terrorists, gangs, attempted murder. Step 4, media amplification. Step 5, Suppress or discredit witnesses. Step 6. Quietly retreat only when forced by courts or video. Most cases never reach Step 6. No cameras. No lawyers. No press attention. And that's why unchecked power is so dangerous. Because the truth usually doesn't have a microphone. This case matters because it shows how fragile truth becomes when authority decides facts are optional. If lies like this are normalized, accountability disappears. Enforcement becomes ideology. And the public is conditioned to accept whatever story justifies the next escalation. So pay attention. Demand evidence. Support journalism and legal resistance. Because the only thing standing between power and permanent impunity is exposure. This wasn't a slip-up. It was a warning. Thanks for watching. If you are new on my official news YouTube channel, subscribe.